Well, and I was always told as a young technical founder, hey, go apply for a patent, get a provisional patent application in very quickly for a couple $100, and then you got a year to figure it out. And then that makes you look good. Like there's a little bit of rigor in your thinking, and somebody's looked at it. I think that's valuable. Particularly in a hard technical or deep tech, type environment. And then spend, 5-10 grand to get it in. And then, I think your number 25, 30 grand is about the going rate to get a patent for something. Right. And then the game was always, you got to get a patent, you just might have to narrow it down a little bit. And then, so if we have everyone narrowing niche patents, then, it's kind of like, what are we doing? Right. That's just, and it kind of goes back to your, if you had that $30,000, $50,000 back, and you spend it on, sales and marketing, and, you're not going to get the patent in for 5 years anyway, right? 3, 4, 5, 6 years. And then, what are you going to, if you're a small, single digit million ARR company, you're not going to spend $1 million to litigate, Google or some big company, coming and infringing on your patent. You like you're saying, it's probably much better to just go like hell and just take the market and become big. But
and that's exactly what we see the market doing, right? Is that with some exceptions, biotech is a notable exception. You cannot operate in that market without patenting. But in a world where it costs $100 million in 10 years to go from molecule to market, spending a few extra $100 grand on patents makes sense, right? You can support that within the construct of the overall budget. But that's why when VCs, the real grown-up VCs, are investing, the thesis is how much market can you grab and achieve market pricing power, not by patents, but having a barrier to entry over branding and network effects.
Mm-hmm. I have thought, so what do you think the lifetime of a typical, venture funded company is, from like, say, angel investment to some kind of exit? Is it, it's got to be not much longer than the 5 years it would take to get a patent anyway.
Well, so the standard view is 5 years. And the reason that it's 5 years is because, the way the venture capital business works, typically the life of the fund is 10 years. And after 10 years, time's up, pencils down. Whatever you've got in the portfolio, you've got to liquidate and return the money to limited partners, right? Assuming it takes a couple of years to even start to get deals in the door and done, right? That leaves 8. And so for the back end, you really can't start investing after 6 years, because you need to focus on harvesting those guys, right? So, the way that the funds are set up, if it's true venture capital and not family office money, that's a different animal. But where they have a finite, they have a ticking clock, it's got to be between 5 to 6 years, or contracts start to get violated.
Yeah. Well, I've been thinking about this a lot, so since I have been issued a number of patents in the past, and for kind of hard science stuff, and then maybe a little bit for a little squishier stuff along the way. Yeah. But, people called me and said, hey, we've got this legislative action. I think there's a fella, the balloons, we have water balloons, and there's like a gazillion little straws, and the auto like inflates the balloons. So I think the dude who did that, got copied by some international company, this mega company that does this all the time. They just run right over everybody. They went to the PTAB and tried to get him invalidated. And he's literally the 1 in 10,000 that won, because he spent millions of dollars to defend. And then so he's a really rare exception. But we're going to the senators, and it doesn't seem to be getting any better, right? And so if you have to spend early money that would be better suited to do sales and marketing, developing product market fit, it's going to take you 5 years to get it anyway. And even if you get it, it probably get invalidated if anybody really cares, if it's a decent patent. Or worst case, you have to spend millions of dollars to litigate. then what are we doing? Like, why would anybody do this, right? Just go like hell and get to market.
I mean, look, there's a market out there. There's an alternative asset class for people who invest in lawsuits, right? They back lawsuits, including intellectual property. They're hard to find. They're hard to convince. It's probably harder to get them to back your litigation than it is to get VC to back a deal, right? But that in itself is now its own investment vehicle, which I don't know speaks overly well for the intellectual property protection system.
Yeah.